You know what we have to do also? Like, I don't know, maybe Wednesday or I guess Thursday. Well, I guess you could do it Thursday. I have to pack.
What?
This is it. I have to pack.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you have stuff here to get back as well, so you can. Yeah, that makes sense. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so I'll do part of it there and part of it here.
That'd be fine.
Yeah, I'll just
Big
bring
deal,
my.
right?
What?
That's not a big deal, right?
No, I was just reminding myself in my head.
Gotcha.
It's more like one of those things where you're like, I better say this out loud so that I.
I gotcha.
Hey, Mallory, how are you? Mallory, funny story. I know you were on. Hey, Nikki, the Tetris thing the other night, and then we did another Tetris thing the next morning when I was sober to see like how it was different in like the light of day or whatever. And a different Mallory was on it, but I wasn't reading the things, and so it was just it was like a funny comedy of errors because Secret Boyfriend was reading all the comments, and I knew you were on the one because I had seen your username, and then he was like, "Oh, Mallory so well," and I was like, "Oh, Mallory was here for the last one," and then it was just like it was anyway, whatever. It was funny. It was funny. I was like, oh, we have two Mallorys. Do you review slime shops? You know what? I haven't in many years. Morning, Deborah just told me it's story time because she got an alert. You know what's funny about that, Becca? Secret Boyfriend calls it story time too. That's really funny. I love that. Aw.
What?
Becca's wife just told her, oh, it must be story time because she got an alert on her phone because
Becca's called story time.
It's called book club, but Becca's been using Deborah's phone because her phone's broken, and so Deborah was like, Becca, I think it's story time. It's funny.
It's cute.
Yeah, it is funny. So I haven't reviewed other people's slime shops in many, many years. I would consider it, but I don't have time to do it right now. Maybe in a couple of months I'll be able to take some on. I just don't have the time right now, unfortunately. I did many years ago, but I haven't recently. Good, Becca. I live for the moment. Are you bringing them with you? Is that what's up? For MIC? I will attempt to hold them all at one time. That will be my goal. All four of them. Amazing. That would be awesome. That would be awesome, Becca. It would be really cool. All right, let us read chapter 24. We are getting to the end of this book, you guys. We're definitely going to finish this pretty soon here. And then I think we're going to do Stage Struck next. I think that's what's winning the vote is Stage Struck. And I'm personally very excited for Stage Struck. And then, of course, we'll read Land of Stories book 4 after that. But I personally, like, I need to read Stage Struck. I have to do it. I have to do it. I have to know. I do. I have to know if he...
I'm curious too.
If he stole the stuff.
I thought you were going to read just the book that she stole from her.
I was going to read... Well, I already have Stage Struck, so I was going to read that one first and then read the other book after.
I see.
Yeah, I don't have the other book yet. I'll have to order it. I guess I don't know. Anyway, let's read chapter 24 regardless of this. Okay. Chapter 24, The Forgotten Army. The Grand Armée divided troops spread out across the fairy tale world to attack the kingdoms that they had been assigned. Hundreds of Armée soldiers trooped across into the Charming Kingdom, preparing to take the capital by storm. Xanthos hovered in the air high above the spirals of the Charming Palace clock tower, and saw soldiers marching in the distance. The moment that they had feared most had come. The Charming Kingdom was facing its first attack, and its defenses were outnumbered. Xanthos pointed his finger in the air, and a fiery flare shot from it. It signaled Sir Lambton and his men below, and they quickly assembled on the front lawns of the Charming Palace. "How many are there?" Sir Lambton asked Xanthos as he descended into the lawns. "They outnumber us by a few hundred trolls," the fairy said. "The stakes are high, but it could be much worse." "We must signal the other half of our army to come out of hiding," Sir Lambton said. "If they only outnumber us by trolls, we could win this battle. Not many of my men will have to lose their lives today." Lambton, We can't, Xanthos said. We have to fight the army off with the men we have while we wait for the signal. Trust me, this is only the first battle we'll face, and if we use all our forces now, there may be no one left to fight the horrors of tomorrow. Sir Lambton's face grew serious, and he stepped closer to him. How am I supposed to tell these men that they're about to die in battle while their brothers lay in hiding? We may not win this battle, but if we want to win the war, we have to follow the plan, Xanthos said. Sir Lambton reluctantly nodded. God, I hope that little girl's plan works, he said to himself. Me too, Xanthos said. I don't want to think about what the world will look like if we fail. Sir Lambton mounted his horse and rode through the lines of charming soldiers. My good men, he shouted, the enemy has arrived in our beautiful home sooner than we expected. We may be outnumbered by soldiers and by trolls, but they can never outmatch us in heart, in courage, and in love for our country. Lambton withdrew his sword and raised it high above his head. Let us be the first ones to show these monsters that the Charming Kingdom is not for sale. Let us give them a taste of Charming army so that they cower in fear when our brothers return from hiding to finish them off. The Charming soldiers all raised their swords with him. They cheered Lambton's words, even though they knew their odds of surviving this battle were against them. Like true soldiers, they turned their fear into bravery and courageously faced the oncoming threat to protect the country that they loved. But we're not outnumbered, a voice called from behind the soldiers. Lambton and his soldiers turned towards the voice they saw wasn't alone. Slowly emerging from behind the Charming palace, from the streets surrounding the capital were hundreds and hundreds of civilians. The men and women carried pots and pans, pitchforks and hoes, rolling pins and knives, scissors, shears, mops, and buckets. There were bakers and farmers, locksmiths and seamstresses, teachers and butchers, maids and butlers, and they all had come to stand proudly with the soldiers of their kingdom. What's going on? Xanthos asked the civilians. We've come to fight, a farmer declared, and the men and women of his party cheered. This is our home too, a seamstress yelled. We won't let our kingdom fall into the hands of anyone else but our king and queen, a butcher shouted. Their enthusiasm befuddled the soldiers. In his military career, Sir Lambton had never seen anything like this before. The Charming citizens were perhaps more eager to fight the armade than the soldiers were. Ladies and gentlemen, Lambton shouted, gesturing for them to quiet down. We respect your intentions, but this is a matter for the Charming army, and we morally cannot ask this of you. A maid dramatically looked around at her crowd of servants. Asked? Was anyone asked to fight for this kingdom? She said, I don't have to be asked. I'm here of my own accord because I want to protect my home, and I'm not leaving until this army is gone. The citizens burst into thunderous roars. Their enthusiasm was unyielding. Nothing Lambton said or did was going to convince them to leave. Xanthos looked at Lambton and shrugged. Well, it won't hurt to have more numbers, he said. Sir Lambton gazed around at the willing crowd. His army had almost doubled right before his eyes. It was a sight that had warmed him to the center of his heart. The people he had spent his entire life loyally protecting had come to his aid. They cared about their kingdom's prosperity as much as he did. Lambton raised his sword to the bigger and stronger army now surrounding him. Well, then let us fight these invaders together and show them what the Charming army and the Charming kingdom are made of, he declared. The soldiers of the Charming army raised their sword and their brooms and their rakes and their hammers, their rolling pins, their knitting needles, and whatever other objects they had brought with them for battle. They cheered so loudly that the sound was heard miles away, and the soldiers and trolls of the approaching army quivered in their boots. Dun dun dun! That was an oddly short chapter, but considering that we were late today, it's probably for the best. But that was interesting. The people of the Charming Kingdom are not going down without a fight. The next chapter is going to be called The Healing Flames of Halgetta's Fire. Whoa. All right. Well, we'll read The Healing Flames tomorrow morning, shaking in my affordable yet stylish boots. Very funny, Becca. I'm going to go because I have to go back home and get work done. But I will see you all later, probably for a Slime Live this evening. And then tomorrow night, we have our instructional live. Ooh, I got to post the time for that. So, yeah, I will see you all on the flip side. Bye, guys.